Well, here's something I never would have thought would be mixed together. The Walking Dead and bridge construction? Well, that's why we're here, isn't it? Let's find out whether it's any good together. My name's Kanan, and welcome back to the home of Switch Gaming. And welcome to the Bridge Construction 101, The Basics. I'm doing basics as I can already hear some of your eyes rolling back in the back of your heads, as there's a lot to cover here. But as I normally say, I'll give you what you need, and if it's worth playing, you can find everything else out yourself. That's why, well, you buy these games, isn't it? No need for me to spoil everything for you. And so, at the top we have the build icon. Build your bridge and the like, and a few other little structures I'll come on to later on. And so then we have character movement. You get to give them kind of simple tasks later on in the game. And there's also a button here that kind of like is a try your bridge out, and then you can come back and alter it if need be. So top right is a badge that can be obtained by meeting the required material limit, and trust me, this is kind of difficult later on in the levels and probably put the most hardened of bridge constructors at their paces. Then we have your materials, more added as you progress, and last up, your objectives that vary from level to level. Getting characters or objects to safety, or killing a certain amount of walkers before you complete the other tasks. And actually building bridges is kind of simple, but it's one of those simple to do, kind of hard to master type things. Just add and link the different components together, making sure it's all linked to something secure, and remember to make the walkway or road on top, otherwise, well, everything will just fall through it. And then other levels want you to add weight to objects, like crates, to pull them down over the walkers, or a cylinder to roll it down, again squishing the walkers and crushing them. Adding to all of this a kind of basic character control system through kind of almost like checkpoints. You can change directions, throw objects, throw switches or press buttons, and you can even in some cases fight the walkers, but be careful of how much stamina you've got, because if you run out, then you're walker food. I felt this all worked quite well, apart from now and again the materials that you're using can kind of like not quite cross, but be so close that if you need to delete something or change something, it's difficult to click on it, and you might end up deleting something else purely by mistake. And with all that finally out of the way, let's talk a tiny bit about the story, or more to the fact that I enjoyed it. It kept the game moving on, and it kind of felt like it belonged in The Walking Dead. So to me, as a kind of like fanboy, I kind of enjoyed it, and it wasn't offensive. As for the sound, it did make me smile on the opening title. That original music coming up was kind of I wasn't expecting it, but it did bring a smile to my face. The other sounds all seemed decent enough, but the guitar in the in-game music really set the atmosphere. I really did enjoy that. The only shame was there was no voice acting, which I realise why it's missing, probably the cost of getting the actors and everything, and scheduling, but it still would have been kind of kick-ass to actually have that in there, and way cooler. But I'd rather them have no voice acting than them to get Joe Bloggs off the street going, "Oh yeah, my name's Daryl, ha." I think that probably would have spoilt it rather than adding anything to it. As for graphics, I kind of like what they've done here, and it's a close enough match to the original characters and a nice style that even looks good zoomed in. And yes, there is a full zoom in and zoom out, which is, well, really cool and helps for those finer details as well. There's kind of like a nice cell shaded kind of look to it, and kind of like keeps faithful to the show, so that's also good. There's some nice effects also here. For instance, when you're placing your actual roads or walkways, the shadow on the ground forms as you actually do it, which I thought was a pretty cool and neat effect that I noticed almost straight away. And so let's get down to some scoring. Now, I score games on a 1 to 5 level, and this is my own personal view of the game, not anyone else's. I realise I'm a fanboy of The Walking Dead, so I do apologise. Now, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. This game is definitely something I would not have looked at if The Walking Dead was not part of it. But now I've played it, I definitely thinking I may be getting the other 2 games that are on the Switch as well, the Portal one and I believe it's the original one, as I did actually enjoy playing the actual bridge constructor side of it as well. If you're a bit of a fanboy like me of The Walking Dead, I think you'll probably get a kick out of this, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you're not, I think you could probably take a point away from that score, maybe a 3 out of 5, and even that score is above average and would probably be worth picking up for that price. And that's another review, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Feel free to let us know what you're thinking below, that's what it's there for. Hit that like button and consider subscribing to become part of the Switch Heads family. And you'll also be helping the channel out a lot. So stay safe, and life is better when we switch together.